Good afternoon, friends. Today I will discuss with you third landmark judgment of the slaves of advocate on record examination of the Supreme Court of India. In the syllabus, the third judgment is about Minerva Mills versus Union of India. So I will discuss that judgment briefly. The Minerva Mill versus Union of India 1980 case is landmark judgment in Indian constitutional law that reinforced the basic structure doctrine that was established in Keshwananda Bharti case and clarified the relationship between fundamental rights and directive principles of the state policy. It struck down amendments to the Constitution that were seen as a threshold to its basic structure. Coming to the background of this case, Minerva Mill, a textile company located in Karnataka, was taken over by the Indian government under the provisions of Sikh Textile Undertakings Nationalization Act 1974. Then the company challenged the takeover, claiming it violated fundamental rights under Article 14, that is, right to equality, and Article 19, that is, right to property and freedom of business. The constitutional challenge was Minerva Mill also challenged the constitutional validity of Section 4 and 55 of the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, which expanded Parliament's amending power under Article 368. So these two sections of the Constitutional Amendment, that is Section 4 and 55, were also challenged. The amendment stated that any law giving effect to directive principle of state policy could not be challenged on the ground of violating fundamental rights. This was the main issue. So, taking above facts into consideration, the issues framed were whether Section 4 and 55 of the 42nd Amendment Act violated the basic structure doctrine, which was decided laid down in Keshwananda Bharti case. Whether the balance between fundamental rights and DPSP was disturbed by these provisions, whether the Parliament amending power under Article 368 was unlimited. So these issues were framed. Then Supreme Court gave judgment, which is this case was heard by 5-judge bench, and the judgment was delivered on 31st July 1980. The court ruled in favor of Minerva Mills and struck down the impugned sections of the 42nd Amendment. What were the key ruling points? First one was basic structure doctrine was upheld. This basic structure doctrine was created through the judgment of Keshwananda Bharti case. So that was upheld. The court reaffirmed this doctrine established in the Keshwananda Bharti case It held that Parliament's power to amend the Constitution is not absolute and is subject to basic structure of the Constitution. Now coming to section 4 and 55 of the 42nd Amendment, they were declared invalid. Section 4. This section 4 has amended Article 31C to give primacy to directive principles of state policy over fundamental rights. It allowed laws implementing DPSP to override Article 1419 even if they violated the basic structure. The court struck down, stating it was unconstitutional. Now coming to section 55. This section 55 prohibited judicial review of constitutional amendments, effectively making Parliament amending power limitless. This was also struck down as it violated the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, bringing balance between fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy, what the court said. The court emphasized that both fundamental rights and directive principles of the state policy are essential for the Constitution's integrity and must coexist harmoniously. Fundamental rights ensure individual freedoms, while directive principles of state policy are essential for the sorry, there is a little bit disturbance. The court emphasized that both fundamental rights and directive principles of the state policy are essential for the Constitution's integrity and must coexist harmoniously. It further said that fundamental rights ensure individual freedoms, while directive principles of the state policy guide the state in achieving socio-economic justice. Neither can be prioritized to the detriment of the other. I am repeating, it said that neither can be prioritized to the detriment of the other. So it gave limited amending power. The court ruled that judicial review is part of the Constitution's basic structure. Parliament cannot amend the Constitution in a way that destroys or damages its basic structure. Now, coming to the significance of the judgment. First one is it protected fundamental rights. The judgment protected individual rights from being subordinated entirely to directive principles. And secondly, it strengthened judicial review. It reaffirmed the judiciary's role as the guardian of the Constitution, ensuring that amendments do not violate its core principles. Thirdly, the judgment checks on Parliament's power. The decision limited Parliament's power to amend the Constitution, ensuring that democratic principles and rule of the law remained intact. Foundation for future cases. The Minerva mill judgment has been cited in numerous subsequent cases to uphold constitutional values and prevent arbitrary state action. So, what are the key takeaways from the judgment? It says that fundamental rights and directive principles of the state policy must be balanced to achieve the objective of the Constitution. The basic structure doctrine ensures that Parliament cannot destroy essential constitutional features, including judicial review, democracy, and individual freedoms. Judicial review is integral to protecting the constitutional integrity. So, nutshell conclusion, the Minerva mill case was a landmark in Indian constitutional history, strengthening the concept of basic structure doctrine and protecting citizens' fundamental rights from arbitrary amendments. It reaffirmed the Constitution's supremacy and established a clear framework for balancing individual rights with state directed social justice. That's all. God bless you all.